Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, November 16th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college basketball, NBA, NHL, and college football games and look ahead to all the games being played today. We have golf, we have Major League Baseball awards, college football playoff rankings, Masked Singer and Survivor, news and notes, and, of course, best bet. Alrighty. We're going to start in college basketball. It was a busy day in the sport yesterday. A couple of big games we have to discuss. We'll go over everything that happened, and we will look ahead to a not-so-busy day today, though. Youngstown State over Grace Christian, 96-68. Providence over Stonehill, 176. Appalachian State upsets Louisville, 61-60. Louisville's 0-3 now. Holy crap. Northwestern over Georgetown, 75-63. Michigan State upsets number 4 Kentucky, 86-77 in double overtime. Oscar Tshiebwe was amazing in his first game back, but he fouled out. Michigan State takes advantage and wins in double overtime. Number 13 Auburn over Winthrop, 89-65. Number 25 UConn over Buffalo, 84-64. The Citadel over Morris College, 109-66. Prairie View over Washington State, 70-59. Akron over Morgan State, 65-59. Wright State over Bowling Green, 80-71. St. Peter's over Bucknell, 82-71. High Point over Leeds McRae, 100-83. Georgia State over Mercer, 85-83. In overtime, James Madison over Howard, 95-69. Mount St. Mary's over McDaniel, 60-38. Tennessee Martin over Harris Stone, 96-53. Rhode Island over Stony Brook, 74-64. Fordham over New Hampshire, 79-61. Penn over Drexel, 64-59. Quinnipiac over Dartmouth, 81-72. Middle Tennessee over Rice, 81-46. LaSalle over Queens, 72-60. St. John's over Central Connecticut, 91-74. Maryland over Binghamton, 76-52. West Virginia over Morehead State, 75-57. Vandy over Temple, 89-87 in overtime. Wake over Utah Valley, 68-65 in overtime. Colgate over Syracuse, 80-68. Miami over Florida A&M, 87-61. Clemson over SC Upstate, 81-70. Alcorn State over Stephen F. Austin, 69-60. Incarnate Word over Texas Lutheran, 84-47. Ole Miss over Chattanooga, 70-58. Number 1 North Carolina over Gardner-Webb, 72-66. Abilene Christian over McMurray, 104-46. Western Kentucky over Indianapolis, 68-50. Northern Arizona over Benedictine, Arizona, 105-49. Texas Arlington over Hardin Simmons, 100-59. Pacific over North Dakota, 93-63. Bradley over Eastern Michigan, 89-61. Earl Roberts over Texas Southern, 82-64. South Dakota State over St. Bonaventure, 66-62. New Mexico over SMU, 84-63. Oklahoma over UNC Wilmington, 74-53. Missouri over SIU Edwardsville, 105-80. Purdue over Marquette, 75-70. Number 17 San Diego State over Stanford, 74-62. Oregon over Montana State, 81-51. UTEP over Sul Ross, 99-59. Xavier over Fairfield, 78-65. St. Louis over Memphis, 90-84. Wisconsin over Green Bay, 56-49. NC State over FIU, 107-74. Number 18 Alabama over South Alabama, 65-55. Pepperdine over Vanguard, 94-80. San Jose State over Alabama State, 70-57. Cal Baptist over Cal State Northridge, 62-55. UC Irvine over Loyola Marymount, 79-64. Nevada over William Jessup, 98-54. UC San Diego for Cal, 64-62. Number 6 Kansas over number 7 Duke, 69-64. UNLV over number 21 Dayton, 60-52. That's a big upset. And obviously the Duke-Kansas game was a good game, back and forth. But ultimately, Kansas came through like I thought they would. Oregon State over Bushnell, 83-66, and USC over Vermont, 59-57. All right, now we look ahead to today's games. At 11 a.m., we have Arkansas Pine Bluff at Kent State. My line is Kent by a whopping 47, and it is Kent by 21.5. I'm going to lay the points. 4 o'clock, Sacred Heart, UMass Lowell. UMass Lowell's favored by 12.5, and its 11 total is, or I have it 11. FanDuel has a 12.5. 148.5 is the total. I'll begrudge an under because I remember UMass Lowell being like an under team in the past. 6 o'clock, ESPNU, the Legends Classic, number 20, Michigan at Pitt. from the Barclays Center, so I had to change the line. I didn't realize this game was in Brooklyn. I had 17 because I thought Pitt was home, but no, it's at the Barclays Center. So Michigan by 20 is my projection, and it's 9.5. I'm going to like the 9.5 at Michigan. Florida Gulf Coast at number 22, Tennessee. My line's Tennessee by 26, and it is 21.5. I'm going to leave the points. Mid-Atlantic, Christian, NC Central, we could skip. Same for West Virginia, Wesley, and Robert Morris. Oakland, Toledo, my line is Toledo by a whopping 29.5, and it is Toledo giving 13.5. I'm going to leave the points. Marist, Lehigh. I have a pick'em, and Lehigh is favored by 5.5. Give me Marist plus the 5.8, and I think they can win outright too. They're plus 168. Ohio and Detroit Mercy. Ohio is favored by 1.5. I have it 15, and I'm going to leave the 1.5 with Ohio. Alfred Radford, we can skip. Army Siena is interesting. My projection is Siena by 14.5, and the line is 6.5. I'm going to lay the points with Siena. William & Mary and American. My line is William & Mary by 10. And American's giving 2.5. Give me William & Mary plus the 2.5 and plus 132 outright. Delaware State, Columbia. My line is Columbia by 8. And it's 8.5. Total's 143.5. I'm going to take the over. Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. My line is Cincinnati by a whopping 25.5, and it's 6.5. I'm going to lay the points with Cincinnati. That's very low. Hampton and East Carolina. My line is 18, and it's 10.5. I'm going to lay the points. Cleveland State and Canisius. My line is Canisius 11, and it's 1.5. I'm going to lay to 1.5 with Canisius. Charleston Southern and Tulane. My line is Tulane by a whopping 37. And Tulane is favored by 20.5. I'm going to lay the points. Harvard Northeastern. My line's Northeastern 3.5. And looks like Harvard's favored in this game. Yeah, by 1.5. Give me Northeastern getting the 1.5 and plus 112 to win outright. Eastern Illinois, Ohio State on the Big Ten Network. My line is Ohio State by a whopping 49. It's 31.5. I'll lay the points. Presbyterian UAB at 7:30. I have UAB 35.5, and FanDuel has it at 26.5. I'll lay the points. 8 o'clock, Iowa, Seton Hall. It's 7:30, and it is at the Prue Center. Okay. My line is Seton Hall by 4, and it's 1. I'm going to lay the 1 with Seton Hall. 8 o'clock, Texas Southern at number 3, Houston. My line is Houston by a whopping 47.5, and Houston is favored by 31.5. I'll lay the points. South Dakota State at number 9, Arkansas. My line's Arkansas by a whopping 38. And I don't see this line on FanDuel. 15. I'm going to lay the 15 with Arkansas. Valpo, Chicago State. My line is Valpo by 4.5. And it's 9.5. I'm actually going to take Chicago State getting the points to hang around. Trinity Baptist and Bethune-Cookman. We can skip. Southeast Missouri State and Evansville. My projection's 9 for Southeast Missouri State. And it's Evansville by 1.5. Give me Southeast Missouri State getting the 1.5 and plus 112 to win straight up. Southern Indiana and Notre Dame on the ACC Network. My line's Notre Dame by 42, and it is 15.5. I'll lay the points with Notre Dame. Ball State, Omaha, 8:30. My line is Ball State by a whopping 20.5, even on the road. And it's 5.5. I'll lay the points with Ball State. Southern and St. Mary's also at 8:30. My line is St. Mary's by a whopping 43.5, and it's 19.5. I'll lay the points. VCU and Arizona State Legends Classic. This is also at the Barclays Center, so I have to redo my line here, amazingly enough. With this game being played at Barclays, I actually have VCU as a half-point favorite over Arizona State, and they're favored by 4.5. Give me Arizona State getting the 4.5. I think they can win, too. They're plus 160. Missouri State and BYU at 9 o'clock. I have BYU by 24.5, and it's 9.5. I'll lay the points. Cal State, Bakersfield, and Idaho. My line is Bakersfield by 1.5, and it's Idaho by 2.5. Give me Cal, Bakersfield plus 2.5 and plus 114 outright. And a big game on ESPN2 tonight. Number 2 Gonzaga, number 11 Texas from the Moody Center. Huge game. My line is Texas by 2. And it's a pick'em. I'm going to take Texas in the pick'em against Gonzaga. 10 o'clock, San Fran and Fresno State. My projected line is 19.5 for San Francisco, and that's also a pick'em. Give me San Francisco in a pick'em, minus 110. And then Evergreen State, Portland State, we can skip. All right, NBA. We'll go over the games from yesterday and look ahead to a busy window for tonight. Pelicans over the Grizzlies, 113-102. Mavs over the Clippers, 103-101. Knicks over the Jazz, 118-111. Blazers over the Spurs, 117-110. And the Kings over the Nets, 153-121. Yikes. Yikes, Brooklyn. That's like they can't do anything. That's just a terrible, inexcusable loss if you're Brooklyn. All right, 7 o'clock, you have the Pacers at the Hornets from Charlotte. My line here is Indy by 5, total 228.75. And it is Pacers as the 2.5-point dog, total 233. I'm going to take Indiana getting the 2.5 and plus 116 outright. No Hayward tonight's a big deal. Timberwolves Magic, my line is mini by 12, total 226 and 9/20. And it is Minnesota by 6, total 225. I'll lay the 6 with Minnesota. Thunder Wizards, my line is Wiz 10.5, total 225 and a 20th, and it's 4.5 and 228. I'm going to lay the 4.5 with the Wiz. ESPN tonight at 7:30 of the Celtics and the Hawks. Huge game. I think this is going to be Ryan Ruocco and Doris Burke. I could be wrong. I know it's not Mike Breen because he's on the West Coast with the Knicks. But this is a good game for the East. My line is 4 and 231 and 2/5 for Boston, and it's 3 and 235.5. So very tight with the spread. I'm gonna go with the under in this game. Amazingly enough, the Heat and the Raptors. My line's Raptors 4.5, total 221 and the 20th, and it's Heat 1.5, total 214.5. Wrong team's favor. Give me Toronto plus 1.5 and plus 108. I get it. No, Siakam, but everybody else is playing. Give me the Raptors. 8 o'clock, the Cavs at the Bucks. My line's Bucks 9.5, total 221 and 7/10, and it's 4 and 219.5. I'm going to lay the 4 with the Bucks. Bulls Pelicans. My line's Pelicans by a whopping 14, total 225 and a 20th, and it's 3 and 225.5. Oh my God, I'm laying the 3 at the Pelicans. That is ridiculous. Like, Zion's still hurt. Zion's playing. He was questionable. Like, why? As far as I'm concerned, if any of the big 3 play, they should easily beat the Bulls. 8:30, Rockets Mavs. My line is Mavs 13.5, total 222 and 3/20, and it is 9 and 222. I'm going to lay the 9 with Dallas. 10 o'clock, Knicks Nuggets from Denver. No Nikola Jokic. My line is Nuggets by 6.5, total 231 and 3/5, and it's 3.5 and 225.5. Getting the picking the over in a Knicks game is like a no-brainer at this point. Their defense is so bad, but their offense at times can be really good. And Denver's defense is bad without Jokic as far as I'm concerned, so give me the over in this game. I would do over in the Nuggets in the same game. The Nuggets have some value with no Jokic. And the Knicks on the second of a back-to-back. And probably the game of... is it the game of the night or Celtics-Hawks might be the game of the night? But this is a great game. This is a rematch of a game that we saw earlier in the year when Klay Thompson got ejected in Phoenix. And it's the same matchup in the same location, Warriors-Suns on ESPN. This is going to be Dave Pasch and Mark Jackson, I think. My projection, Suns by 3, total to 26 3/4, and it's Suns by 1, total to 25. I'm going to lay the 1 with the Suns, although it's really a pick-em. Each side's minus 108, but give me the Suns. They're better than Golden State right now, who's bad on the road. All right, NHL, we'll go over the games from yesterday and look ahead to the games being played tonight. Canucks over to Sabres 5-4. Panthers over to Caps 5-2. Devils over to Habs 5-1 for their 10th win in a row. Amazing. Leafs over to Pens 5-2. Lightning over to Stars 5-4 in OT on a game winner by Alex Killorn. Blue Jackets over to Flyers 5-4 in overtime on a game winner by Vladislav Gavrikov. Preds over to Wild 2-1. Ducks over to Red Wings 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Ryan Strome. So best bet does not hit. And the Sharks over to Golden Knights 5-2, which is a pretty big upset. 3 games tonight, 7 o'clock. You have the Sabres at the Sens. Ottawa's minus 166. Buffalo's plus 138. Over under 6.5. Over's minus 132. Under's plus 108. Sabres plus 1.5 is minus 70. Sens minus 1.5 is plus 138. Give me Buffalo plus 138. They're playing pretty well right now, and I like them better than Ottawa at the moment. TNT at 7:30 have the Blues and the Blackhawks from Chicago. The Blues are minus 176. The Blackhawks are plus 146. Over under 6, minus 110 each way. Blues minus 1.5 is plus 148. Blackhawks plus 1.5 is minus 184. Blackhawks are playing better than the Blues right now, low-key. Give me the Blackhawks to get over NHL 500, plus 146. Like all the dogs tonight. And then the latter half of the TNT doubleheader is a good game. The Kings and the Oilers in the Pacific. So, Oilers minus 146. The Kings plus 122. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 132. Unders plus 108. Kings plus 1.5 is minus 188. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 152. Give me the Kings plus 122. So, 3 games, 3 dogs as the picks. Don't see that very often. All right, college football. We have a couple games to talk about from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's games. It's all action. Bowling Green over Toledo, 42-35. Bowling Green 6-5, Toledo 7-4. Ohio over Ball State, 32-18. So 3 more action games tonight, 6 o'clock on ESPN2. You have Eastern Michigan at Kent State. Kent State's favored by 7.5, totals 59.5. Give me Eastern getting all those points. I actually have them projected as a 2-point favorite, total 57 4/5. So give me Eastern Michigan getting all those points. 7.5 and plus 235 to win this thing outright. Next, 7 o'clock CBS Sports Network, Miami of Ohio and Northern Illinois. Northern's favored by 1.5, totals 45.5. So, here, I'm going to go with the over. Total's low. My line is Northern Illinois by 0.5, total 52 in the 20th. So, I like the over in this game to hit. Despite some of these action games not really going over and biting it me in the ass. And 8 o'clock on ESPN, you have Western Michigan and Central Michigan. Central's a 10-point favorite, total 49.5. That's crazy. Give me Western getting all those points. I don't think Western's going to win the game outright, but I just think that they're going to stay within 10 points. That is a ridiculous line. I have Central by 5.5, total 50 and 17/20. All right, now move on to golf. We have a couple of matches. Not a couple of matches, one match that we have to talk about. It is the RSM Classic. By the way, no golf next week because of Thanksgiving. So that's one less thing for me to worry about on next Wednesday's show, which is going to be the big show because we're not going to have a show on Black Friday, which is November 25th. All right, so the RSM Classic from Sea Island, Seaside Course, and others. So 9 a.m. tee times, a lot. We have Max McGreevy, Sam Ryder, Callum Tarrant, Brendan Wu, Austin Cook, Kevin Twice, Sam Piercy, Sean O'Hare, Vincent Taylor, Bayo Haas. I'm just going to go through notables. 9:10. Stefan Yeager, Matt Wallace, Matthew Neesmith, Nate Lashley, Taylor Pendrith, Dylan McCarthy, Bryce Garnett, Alex Badley, Villegas, Restrepo, and John Ha. 9:20. JT Potson, Cam Champ, Sahith Thiglia, Tyler Duncan, Seb Straka, Brian Harmon, Stuart Sink, Luke List, Kevin Kisner, Harry English. 9:30, Richie Wierenski, Trey Mullinax, Ryan Moore, Michael Thompson, Justin Rose, Webb Simpson, Rory Sabatini, Joaquin Herman, Zach Johnson, Francesco Molinari, Brendan Todd, Dylan Lingmerth. 9:40, Justin Lauer, Brent Grant, Austin Smotherman, Patrick Rogers, Charlie Hoffman, Nate Watney, Danny Willits, Cam Piercy, Ben Martin, Peter Malnati. 9:50, Scott Harrington, Taylor Montgomery, Will Gordon, Patrick Knowles, Joseph Bramlett. 10 o'clock, MJ Daffé, Victor Norman, Cam Young, Scott Stevens, Samuel Stevens, my bad. And Tano Goya. 10:10, Henrik Norlander, Adam Schenk, Alex Moy, Grayson Sieg, Wyndham Clark, Hank Labodia, Keith Mitchell, Trey Merritt, Brian Stewart, Davis Liskey, Dylan Fratelli. 10:20, Patton Kazio, Taylor Moore, Lucas Hodges, Matthias Schwab, Kevin Stroman, Danny Lee, Kevin Chappell, Adam Long, Jonathan Byrne, Matt Trainer. 10:30, J.J. Spawn, Joel Dahman, Chad Ramey, Seamus Power, Grayson Higo, Taylor Hogue, Hayden Buckley, Adam Svensson, Andrew Landry, Jason Duffner, Jason Day, and Brandon Gay. 10:40, Davis Riley, Ben Taylor, Chris Kirk, Matt Kuchar, Scott Stallings, Russell Knox, Mackenzie Hughes, Robert Streb, Jason Hadley. 10:50, Nate Hardy, Eric Cole, Aaron Ray, Doc Redman, Adam Putnam. 11 o'clock, Michael Giljic, Andrew Novak, Ben Griffin, Robbie Shelton, Harry Higgs, David Thompson. And there you have it. My pick for the RSM Classic I hit last week with Tony Finau. I hit 3 or 4 this season for golf, which is not terrible because at least it's not an offer. But I'm going to lay a fifth of a unit on somebody I just think is due to come through here in the RSM Classic. He's 33-1, and it's Webb Simpson. So I'm going to lay a fifth of a unit. I like Webb a lot, and I think he's due. So give me Webb Simpson at 33-1 to win the RSM Classic. All right, Major League Baseball awards, managers of the year were announced last night on I think they got it wrong in the American League, and I think they really got it wrong in the National League because I think the winner of this award wasn't even a finalist, which is ridiculous. So the vote totals for Manager of the Year. So the American League, your winner, Terry Francona of the Guardians, 17 first-place votes, 9 second-place votes, 112 points. And he kind of ran away with it. Second place, Brandon Hyde of the Orioles. That's who I think should have won. 9 first-place votes, 9 second-place votes, and 7 third-place votes to 79 points. Third place with 43 points, Scott Servais of the Mariners. 1 first-place vote, 8 second-place votes, and 14 third-place votes. Fourth place, Dusty Baker of the Astros. 3 first-place votes, 3 second-place votes, and 7 third-place votes with 31 points. And fifth place, Aaron Boone of the Yankees, 1 second-place vote and 1 third-place vote with 4 points. And in sixth place, Kevin Cash of the Rays with 1 point, 1 third-place vote. So how the point totals would go would be 1 point for third place and 3 points for second place. And then, so 3 times 3 is 9. Add 7, that's 16. So first place vote is 15 points. Because Dusty Baker got 31 points. Oh no, 3 first place votes. So 5 points for his first place. That makes more sense. So 5 for first. And then 3 for second and 1 for third. That makes sense. And then the National League with 77 points, 8 first place votes, 10 second place votes, and 7 third place votes. New York Mets manager Buck Showalter. Coming in second with 57 points, Dave Roberts of the Dodgers. 8 first place votes, 4 second place votes, and 5 third place votes. Coming in third with 55 points, 7 first place votes, 5 second place votes, and 5 third place votes, Brian Snitker. Fourth place with 44 points, Oliver Marmol of the Cardinals. 5 first place votes, 4 second place votes, and 7 third place votes. And in fifth, with 36 points, Rob Thompson of the Phillies. 2 first place votes, 7 second place votes, and 5 third place votes. And in sixth, with 1 point and 1 third place vote, Bob Melvin of the Padres. So there you have it for the National League and American League Managers of the Year. Tonight, the Cy Youngs will be announced in each league. It's going to be interesting to see who wins these awards. So, in the American League, you have Dylan Cease, Alec Manoah, and Justin Verlander. And the National League, you have Sandy Alcantara, Max Fried, and Julio Urias. The American League, to me, it's no doubt it's Justin Verlander. He was the most dominant pitcher in the regular season in the American League this season, despite some injuries. I'm going to pick Alec Manoah for second. He just made a big leap this year, like I thought he would. And in third, I'm going to go with Dylan Cease of the White Sox, who also made a pretty nice leap. In the National League, I think the winner's going to be Sandy Alcantara. He was just money this year, and he really put it all together. Second, I'm going to go with Julio Urias. He's just a money pitcher, too. Finally, living up to the hype that the Dodgers gave him all these years ago. And third, I'm going to go with Max Fried. Second and third, to me, is a flip of the coin. I'd respect either or for second or third, but to me, Alcantara has to win, even though he was on a lousy team. He just was easily the best pitcher in that league this year. All right, now I'm going to go over the college football playoff rankings that came out last night. They came out in the middle of the two college basketball games. They actually did it in studio this year instead of at wherever the Champions Classic was. Maybe they stopped doing that during COVID. I don't remember. But they used to do it from wherever that would be, but they did it in the middle of the two games like they usually would. Except they were all in studio and Kirk Terpstra was doing it from home. So, number 1 was Georgia, of course. 2 was Ohio State. 3, Tennessee. 4, TCU. 5, Michigan. 6, LSU. 7, Alabama. 8, USC. Oh, wait, no. Scratch that. That's what I predicted. What it actually was Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee, LSU, USC, Alabama. And then 9 was Clemson, 10 was Utah, 11 Penn State, 12 Oregon, 13 UNC, 14 Ole Miss, 15 Kansas State, 16 UCLA, 17 Washington, 18 Notre Dame, 19 Florida State, 20 UCF, 21 Tulane, 22 Oklahoma State, 23 Oregon State, 22 NC State, and 25 was Cincinnati. So I accidentally gave out my predicted top 8. I honestly think Tennessee should be in the 3 spot over TCU and Michigan. They have a better resume than those teams despite losing to Georgia. But I understand that they won the 4 undefeateds in the top 4. But Michigan, Ohio State losers out anyway, so I understand why they have it now, but eventually one of those two teams is going to be out. SC and Alabama, I think that they should be in opposite spots. I'm surprised that SC didn't get punished for the conference meltdown last weekend. So, they reward USC with the 1 loss, which was a courtesy of Utah going for 2. And Utah's in the 10th spot. I think they should have been 11th. So the rest of my predicted top 9, I had Clemson 9, North Carolina 10. North Carolina should be in the top 10. I'm sorry. I have Utah 11, Washington 12. I thought Washington should have gotten a bigger bump than it got and should have been ahead of Oregon. Oregon I had 13, Penn State 14, UCLA 15, Ole Miss 16, 17 UCF, 18 Notre Dame, 19 Florida State, 20 Tulane, 21 Cincinnati, 22 Kansas State, 23 Oklahoma State, 24 Illinois, 25 Coastal Carolina. So I still had Illinois in, but to me it was either be them or NC State that was still going to be in despite some bad losses, but they clearly felt that Illinois was a fluke, and if Devin Leary was healthy, NC State would be in there anyway. So I understand their thinking there. Coastal Carolina is 1 loss, and they're a group of 5 team that's not being mentioned. But we'll get into them in a second on news and notes for unfortunate reasons. But I thought they should have been in the top 25. Oregon State was in there. They haven't beaten anybody good, so I left them out on purpose. And then Ole Miss was 14. I had them 16. I thought Ole Miss was going to get docked a little bit because their best win was against Kentucky, and Kentucky's not ranked. I mean, they didn't beat Alabama. They were competitive with them, so I guess that's why they're 14. Alrighty, so that's the college football playoff rankings for this week. Masked Singer is on tonight, 8 o'clock on Fox. We're going to see the Bride face off against 2 new contestants. It's going to be interesting. I think that the Bride is in trouble for this episode because there could be 2 or maybe 1 phenomenal singer that comes in and destroys them. I think there's like an avocado character I saw coming up for this episode, which is funny. Kind of looked like the taco costume from, I want to say that was season 3, when Tom Bergeron was the taco. But yeah, the bride is interesting. I wonder if Ken Jug's will return in this episode. Or will he be under the mask? Let's see. And it will be this season's Nick Cannon in that instance. I would love to see Ken under the mask. If he's not, I'm going to predict right now that if Ken is not in the panel tonight, he will be under he'll be under the avocado mask or the other mask. I don't know. Let's say he's under the avocado mask if he's not on the panel tonight. And so Bride was good last week. He performed Shut Up and Dance with Me. It's obviously a rocker. I think it's Angus Young from AC/DC. Nicole guessed David Coverdale, and Robin said Carrot Top. So it's going to be interesting to see who Bride is. I think Bride goes home, and I think if Ken Jeong is not on the panel, he's one of the 2 contestants, and he goes home. And it will be really, really funny. All right, now we're going to talk about Survivor. It's going to be an interesting episode tonight. They're down to the final 10. And Jenny was voted out last week. She's the first jury member. We have Cody, we have Cassidy, we have Carla, we have Mike, who's Gabler, James, Owen, Noel, Sammy, Jesse, and Ryan. It's going to be interesting to see who goes home in this episode. Somebody that I think has come a long way on this show is Cassidy. So I'm going to predict that she wins individual immunity this week. And everyone and their mother was hoping that Owen would sit out the challenge so they could vote him out. What is the likelihood Owen wins individual immunity 2 weeks in a row? I think that's unlikely. But I have a feeling that James is going home. There's been some rumblings, and I saw on the preview for this week's episode that the tribe mates were scuttlebutting about James. So I think James goes home, although I'm going to say that James and Owen it'll be a close vote between James and Owen for who goes home tonight. And it'll be the second jury member. And I think that the winner of immunity this week will be Cassidy. It's just a gut feeling. All right, now I'm going to move on to news and notes for today. Not that much to talk about. Coming down right now is that David Johnson, the former Cardinals running back, will join the Saints on its practice squad, so that's interesting. Ron Rivera's undecided on the starter going forward after the big upset win over the Eagles. Here's some good news for the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar Chase could return week 12. The Bengals are hopeful he'll be back against the Titans after being out since week 7. That would be amazing if he were to come back for week 12. Brutal loss for the Bears. Backup running back, who I think should be their starting running back, Khalil Herbert, placed on injury reserve due to a hip injury. That's a brutal injury for the Bears. Shaq Leonard out for the season after undergoing successful back surgery yesterday morning. Broncos linebacker Aaron Patrick suing the league and the Chargers, claiming SoFi Stadium mats caused his ACL injury in week 6. Oof. Inevitable. Cooper Kupp on the IR. Will miss at least the next 4 weeks as he'll undergo ankle surgery. I think he's going to be done for the year. But the Rams don't have their pick. The Lions do. That Jared Goff deal might be a disaster. I know they won the Super Bowl. I get it. And that's the thing that they can hang their hat on. It's like the Anthony Davis trade with the Lakers. It's the same thing. Yeah, you won, but the trade's still a bad trade. Whether it helped you win the title or not. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert to miss time. It's not season ending, but will miss extended time due to a shoulder injury. So that's not good news for the Eagles. First big injury they've had perhaps all season. All right, so a snowstorm may hit Buffalo this weekend. Browns, Bills, and Buffalo. So we might have a snow game coming up. So that should be a lot of fun. Really sad news is that Coastal Carolina, Virginia for Saturday has been canceled after the deaths of the 3 players who were killed in the shooting. Not surprised there are rumblings about this. Just really sad. I talked about it yesterday. And Coastal Carolina, this isn't really good for them because they're playing perhaps for a New Year's Six Bowl. What if one of the American teams loses and Coastal wins out? And they could have had a win over a Power 5 team on their list, but I know they have the Sun Belt title game coming up too. But let's see how Coastal reacts to this. And I'm not surprised to say the least. And I don't blame Virginia. And there's talk that Virginia may not even continue its season, which wouldn't stun me either. Big college basketball news yesterday for women's. Top guard Juju Watkins officially commits to USC over Stanford and South Carolina. That is a monster get for the SC women's basketball program. They usually don't hit big like this. This is usually like a UConn or a Stanford or a South Carolina type of deal. But they landed a big one, so that is huge. Shams reports about a half an hour ago is that the Nets are frustrated with Ben Simmons as some in the organization are questioning Simmons' passion for the game and growing frustration. Not surprised. He's probably going to be on another team in 4 months from now. Or out of the league. The Clippers are eyeing Miles Turner as the sources believe that the team is shopping wing depth and is less likely to trade Reggie Jackson or John Wall. Miles Turner would be a great addition to the Clippers. I do like their center. But Miles Turner would be an upgrade. For sure. Charles Barkley rips the Brooklyn Nets on the TNT show yesterday for failing to win a championship within the last 4 years since they signed Katie and Kyrie. I'm not surprised. Chuck's very critical of teams that underachieve, and the Nets are probably the biggest underachiever in sports over the last 4 years, if you ask me. Klay Thompson says that he deserves more credit as he responds to people calling out his slow start in his interview with Chris Haynes. And yesterday during the TNT show, Shaq called Chuck Fat Boy. And obviously Kenny and Ernie were not fazed. Julius Randle organized a dinner after the Knicks loss against Oklahoma City on Sunday for players to hold each other accountable as they had a players-only meeting dinner. Mike Breen was on the Michael K. show on Tuesday afternoon, which was yesterday, and said that he had heard that it just was just like a simple, like an Applebee's or Chick-fil-A kind of deal, like something like that, and not anything fancy. And he reported that it went very well. So I'm sure it did, and they went out and won a close game against a team that was perceived to be tanking before the year, but actually isn't that terrible of a team in the Utah Jazz. And speaking of the Knicks, we talked about this during the NBA segment. Nikola Jokic, who they'll be facing tonight, the Nuggets, is in health and safety protocols and will miss tonight's game. I still think the Nuggets should win this game even without Jokic. They're probably better than the Knicks even without Jokic because they do have a lot of talent on that roster. So it's an opportunity for Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray to step up. Isaiah started out 2 to 3 weeks with a sprained right toe and will be reevaluated in a few weeks. Detroit's going to end up in the Wembanyama sweepstakes for sure now. Brutal news for the Grizzlies. Desmond Bane out 2 to 3 weeks with a grade 2 sprain of his right big toe. Just absolutely brutal. And then Zion sat out with the foot contusion last night. Maybe that's why the line was so low. WNBA news. Mike Thibault retiring. The winningest coach in WNBA history. Retires after 20 years. He'll continue as the Mystics GM, but his son Eric will take over head coaching duties. So that's really interesting. Baseball really quick. Anthony Rizzo back to the Yankees series, $34 million. After rumors that the Astros were going after him. I honestly think the Astros were being used as leverage to get Rizzo back in New York. Great thing for the Yankees because to me, it's a better sign that Judge returns because the two of them are very close. But don't always read into that crap they say. Nick Martinez gets a new deal from the Padres with the 3-year deal after he opted out of the final 3 years of his previous contract. So they lock him up. The other big move yesterday, the Angels land Tyler Anderson, 3 years, $39 million. I don't dislike the contract. So that would be $13 million a year. So how did he turn down that big qualifying offer to get that? I don't mind the contract, but I just don't think Tyler Anderson is that good, personally. The Mets are eyeing Justin Verlander and that sensation, Kodai Senga, in case they lose DeGrom. That's not stunning that they're eyeing those guys. That'd be just crazy if they landed Verlander. Verlander and Scherzer on the Mets would just be wild. So some soccer news. Lewandowski gets a 3-game ban plus additional suspension for perceived disrespect towards the ref. And there will be no Barca signings in January as President Laporta says the club won't be able to bring in new players due to La Liga's financial fair play rules. And NYCFC to build a stadium as they reach a $780 million deal to build a 25,000 capacity stadium in Queens across from Citi Field, expected to be open by 2027. So that is amazing news for NYCFC. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. To me, it's just so simple. It's better not be too good to be true. I don't think it will be. I think Zion returns tonight. I'm laying the 3 at the Pelicans against the Bulls. I just think that the Pelicans are really good, and the Bulls are not really that good. I'm going to lay a quarter unit on it, -3 against the Bulls for my best bet of the day. All right, that's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping every game and looking ahead to everything going on tomorrow. And we have Thursday Night Football tomorrow as well to talk about. And I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.